Welcome to this new edition of 1 Minute with the CEO. Today, I have the pleasure of having with me Tony Will, President and CEO of CF Industries. CF Industries is a leader in an industry whose mission is fundamental to human survival, putting food on a world's table. By providing plant nutrients to farmers, CF Industries feed the crops that feed the world. So Tony, let us start. CF Industries underwent an important shift in its strategy in 2020 to establish a new set of environmental, societal, and governance objectives. Can you tell us more about this new strategy?
You bet, Alzbeta, and thanks for having me. It's great to be here. We were really looking at some of the major trends that were moving the world, and a big one, of course, was the push for decarbonization and the need to develop clean sources of energy. And as we were thinking about how can we participate in this, it became clear that ammonia can play a very, very important role in that process. So historically, we focused on, the chemical symbol for ammonia is NH3. We've focused on the nitrogen aspect of ammonia because it provides the energy to grow plants. And what we realized is the three hydrogens that are associated with ammonia provide a tremendous source of very clean energy that can be tapped into. And so we really were focused on, all right, how do we decarbonize our network? How can we provide a clean burning fuel source to the rest of the world to help others decarbonize the world? And really then focused on green ammonia, blue ammonia, and reducing or eliminating the N2O emissions out of our facilities. And by just doing those couple of things, we can reduce our emission profile by about 2/3.
That's great, Tony. So this is looking out, but you've done some major things looking inside the company, and you've accomplished several important milestones, including a record in employee health and safety metrics. How were you able to accomplish that?
Well, it's a long journey. This is a 10-year plus kind of evolution. It's not something that is done overnight. And it really is just consistently relying on our values to make decisions, to set targets, to make sure that there's nothing that is running at cross currents to what we're trying to accomplish. And so we've embedded certain safety metrics into our annual performance plan. It's not based on the numeric rate, but it's based on improving behavioral observations and safety leadership initiatives and process safety management, a whole variety of things. Again, the goal being keep it in front of people, reinforce it at every turn, make it something that is consistent, not just, the program of the day. And it takes a while for it to really take root and for the organization to believe that we're serious about it. But if you use that as the standard by which you make all of your decisions, over time, you're able to consistently make progress. And I'm really excited that last year, with an employee population of about 3,000 people, we had only 4 recordable injuries. So our recordable injury rate was 0.14, which for us was absolutely outstanding. Obviously, the goal is 0, but we're really pleased with the result we had last year, despite being in a pandemic situation.
This is a real culture change, Tony, and that's not easy to accomplish. And on top of that, you have also updated your mission to provide clean energy to feed and fuel the world sustainably. And that's not easy. So how are you going to scale it all up? How are you going to scale up the blue and green ammonia production to achieve the mission and all the objectives with your mission?
Yeah, the mission very much goes back to the question number one, which is the evolving change in our strategy and our focus. And, our belief is, if we're trying to do everything right, whether it is taking care of our employees, the communities we live in, the health and safety of our folks, providing a sustainable future for the planet is part of that objective set. And so our focus, as I mentioned, was really on how do we decarbonize our network. We announced a 20 megawatt electrolysis unit to provide green hydrogen that we're going to be using to make green ammonia. Now that's just a first step. Obviously, there's a long way to go, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, right? And that's the first step in that process. We've also announced 2 dehydration compression plants for CO2 conditioning to get it ready to both transport and inject into geological sequestration wells. And as I mentioned, we spent last year kind of cataloging all of the opportunities we have to otherwise reduce emissions. One of the biggest ones was N2O abatement out of our nitric acid plants, and then further blue projects for sequestration of CO2 at our other facilities. So I'm really excited about the path that we're on. I think we can reduce our scope 1 and 2 emissions by about 65% by the end of this decade. And the hope is, as technology continues to develop, we can then implement flue gas capture to clean up the rest of our emissions profile. So that's kind of the path that we're on.
This is great, Tony. So it starts with a mission, it goes through the company culture, and then it's all about scaling it up for ultimate impact. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. A pleasure.